"We're using your guest room as an Airbnb," my parents announced. "I visit every month. Stay in that room." They'd already listed it. $200/night. Mom said, "You can sleep on the couch. We need income," I replied. "Great idea." Then I stopped paying the property taxes I'd covered for 9 years. The county notice arrived. I pull into my parents' driveway at 6:42 p.m. on a Friday with my daughter half asleep in the back seat and my spine feeling like it's been welded into the driver's seat. "Nora," I say softly, "we're here." She blinks awake, curls stuck to her cheek. "Grandma's house?" "Yeah, Grandma's house." She smiles. That smile is the only reason I keep doing this drive every month. 3 hours from Dallas to Waco, straight after my shift at the hotel. The porch light flicks on before I even kill the engine. My mom's outline appears in the glass like she's been waiting at the peephole. Nora unbuckles herself before I can help and grabs her stuffed koala by one ear. "Can I sleep in the big bed with the blue blanket?" "Our room," I correct automatically. "The guest room." She nods like that's law. "Our room." I pop the trunk, grab our overnight bag with one hand, and my work laptop with the other. Hotel life. You never really clock out. The front door opens. Mom's got on lipstick like she's hosting a church committee, not her son and granddaughter. Dad is behind her, hand on the doorframe like always, like he's bracing the house against me. "There's my girl," Mom coos at Nora, completely skipping me. "Hi, Grandma," Nora says, doing that careful, polite voice she saves for my parents. "Hey," I say, "how's it going?" Mom's smile tightens for half a second when she looks at the bag over my shoulder, like luggage is a personal insult. "Busy." Come in, you're letting the air out." We step inside. Same lemon cleaner smell. Same framed Bible verse by the entry. Same printout of the property tax bill on the side table with a post-it that says, "Due April 1st" in my mom's handwriting. My throat dries without warning. I've seen that bill every year for 9 years. "Can I go set up my animals?" Nora asks. "In our room?" "Yeah, go ahead," I start. "Wait," Mom cuts in, her tone bright and fake. "Honey, why don't you stay down here a second?" Nora stops mid-step, looks up at me. I feel my hands go cold. "What's up?" I ask. Mom smooths her cardigan like that's going to help. "We were going to talk to you about that." "About what?" "The guest room," she says. I shift the bag on my shoulder. "What about it?" Dad clears his throat. "We're using your guest room as an Airbnb now." For a second, my brain doesn't load the sentence. It just hangs. Nora frowns. "Our room?" Mom laughs like that's cute. "The room you use when you visit, sweetheart. It's not your room." My mouth goes dry. "What do you mean you're using it as an Airbnb?" Mom's eyes flick to Dad like they rehearsed this. "Well, Liam, you know how tight things have been. Property taxes keep going up, groceries, utilities. We had to get creative." Dad adds, "Everyone's doing it now. Side income." I set my laptop bag down carefully so I don't drop it. My fingers are numb. "Okay, but where are we supposed to sleep?" Mom doesn't blink. "There's the couch." "The couch," I repeat. "It pulls out," she says. Like that helps. It's one night. Maybe 2. You're not even here that long. Nora is holding her koala tighter. She looks at the stairs, then at me. "But my pictures are in there. The important ones are in a box," Mom says. "We had to clear surfaces." "You can't have personal clutter in listing photos. It looks messy." "Listing photos." "Listing," I echo. "So this started when?" "A couple weeks ago," Dad says. He tries to sound casual. "You know that nice couple from Austin. Real respectful. Left a good review." "You've already had strangers in that room?" I ask. "It's not like that," Mom says quickly. "We vet people. There's a rating system. You of all people should understand that, Mr. Hotel." "Can I see?" Nora asks. "Small." "My bed?" Dad shifts. "We changed the bedding. Got a neutral quilt. Looks real sharp. Professional." Mom pulls her phone from her cardigan pocket, taps, holds it up proudly. "Look, sunny private room near Baylor, $200 per night. We're booked solid for football weekends." I stare at the photo. My parents' guest room. Fresh throw pillows. Tray with fake plants. A candle where Nora's stack of bedtime books used to be. $200 per night. My stomach drops, but my face stays calm. Years at a front desk will do that to you. You can sleep on the couch. Mom repeats, "We need the income. You understand." Nora's fingers curl into my sleeve. Her voice is barely there. "Daddy, did we do something wrong?" I feel that question like a punch. My mouth wants to say a lot of things, none of them helpful. My brain starts counting instead, the way I do when guests scream about room rates. 1, 2, 3. I swallow. My tongue feels like sandpaper. "Liam," Mom says in her reasonable voice, "don't make a scene. Be flexible. Family helps." That line, family helps. I look at the phone again. At the price. At the room my little girl calls ours. I don't scream. I don't argue. I smile. "Great idea," I say. Mom relaxes instantly, like she won. "See? Your father was worried you'd overreact." Dad huffs. "Told you he'd come around." Nora looks confused. "Are we sleeping on the couch?" "Not forever," I say. My voice sounds strange even to me. "Just for tonight." Mom pats my arm like I'm a child. "You'll get used to it. It's just business." My hands have stopped shaking. That worries me more than when they were, because I know exactly how business works. And I've been the one quietly paying this house's property taxes for 9 years. I'm 34. I'm a hotel administrator at a mid-range property off I-35 in Dallas. If you've ever checked into a hotel at midnight and seen a guy in a suit with tired eyes printing audit reports behind the desk, that's basically me. I moved out of this house at 18 and promised myself I wouldn't move back. Life laughed. I got married at 24, divorced at 28, became a single dad at 29. Nora's mom lives in San Antonio with her boyfriend and their new baby. We do the drive back and forth, the custody schedule, the calendar negotiations. I work swing shift, long weekends. I live in a one-bedroom apartment with a view of a parking lot and an ice machine. It's not glamorous, but it's ours. My parents' house in Waco used to be the fallback, the place we came for holidays, for Nora's birthdays, for those weekends I didn't want her stuck in an apartment with her dad grading staff schedules. The house itself is nothing special from the outside. 3 bedrooms, beige brick, the kind of lawn that looks tired even in spring. But it's paid off, or it was, until the taxes started eating them alive. 9 years ago, Dad got laid off from the plant. Property taxes jumped that same year. I remember the conversation like it's recorded. I was 25, still married then. We came down for Easter. Nora was 2 and walked like a drunk duck. Dad had the tax bill on the table, the number circled in red, $3,187.24. "We're drowning," Mom said. "The county's bleeding us." Dad sniffed. "We might have to sell. Your mother can't handle that kind of move." I remember the way my chest squeezed. This house was loud and critical, but it was still the only home I knew. "I can help," I said. "At least for a while." Mom shook her head, palms up in a show of humility. "Liam, you have your own family." "I work in hospitality, not on a fishing boat," I said. "I'm not broke." She hesitated, but not for long. "Well, if you're sure, just until your father finds something. Family helps." So I wrote a check that year. The next year I paid online. Then I set up auto pay because property taxes don't move, and my life was busy enough. 9 years, 9 payments, $3,187.24 the first year, then $3,321.09, then $3,504.11. They crept up, but I kept paying. I kept the email receipts in a folder named Parents' Taxes in my Gmail. Payment confirmation number 274829, number 311092, number 348771. Little digital proof that I was the responsible one. Every time I'd bring it up, Mom would wave me off with that airy voice. "You know we'll take care of you when we're gone. This house will be yours and your sister's. It all evens out." My sister Emma lives in Phoenix and comes home once a year for exactly 49 hours. She's never paid a cent toward this house. Somehow, she's still the successful one. The pattern didn't start with the taxes. The taxes just gave it structure. There was the time I co-signed Emma's car loan because her credit was temporarily complicated. 6 months, max, Mom had said at the kitchen counter. Then she'll refinance. You know Emma, she always lands on her feet. 4 years later, I was still getting the statements. When I finally refused to cover a late payment, Mom cried on the phone. I thought family helped. There was the time they asked to borrow the money Nora's mom and I had put aside for daycare, $1,500 in a savings account, painstakingly collected. Just for a week, Dad had said. We had an unexpected medical bill. You know we'd never ask if it weren't urgent. 3 months later, when I asked about it, Mom went quiet. Things came up, she said. We're doing our best. Don't keep score, Liam. That's ugly. We stopped calling it a loan after that. There was Christmas 3 years ago when Mom told the whole table how our son doesn't pay a dime to live here when he visits, like I was freeloading on holiday weekends. I had just sent a $3,812.66 tax payment 2 weeks before. I caught my reflection in the oven door that night, face calm, jaw tight. Nora sitting beside me at the kid table, eating one pea at a time, her shoulders curled like she was trying to take up less space. That's how she learned to shrink, not from divorce, from this house, from the way every kindness came with an invoice later. When I tried to bring any of it up, I always got the same phrases. Don't make a scene. You're so sensitive. Family helps. It's only temporary. I clung to that last one for a long time. Temporary. I told myself my parents were just stressed, that things would settle, that once Dad picked up more shifts at the hardware store, once Mom stopped obsessing about retirement, once the economy changed, once. I thought it was temporary. It wasn't. The Airbnb thing could have been a one-off. An awkward misstep. A we miscommunicated moment. That's what I told myself on the pull-out couch that first night while Nora curled into my chest and tried to pretend the bar in the mattress wasn't digging into her ribs. Daddy, she whispered. Yeah? Can we whisper story? Whisper story is Nora's version of a bedtime story, told in the dark, no phones. Usually about hotels and dragons and elevators that reach the moon. Sure, I said, staring at the ceiling. Once upon a time, while I talked, I counted the months in my head instead. 9 years of payments. In the morning, Mom acted like nothing was weird. Coffee? She chirped. Sleeper sofa not too bad, right? Good practice for when Nora starts having sleepovers. I let it go that weekend. I didn't bring up the listing. I didn't mention the $200 a night. I drove home Sunday afternoon with a sore back and a quiet kid. The next day, on my lunch break in the staff room, I opened Airbnb on my phone. Searched Waco, Texas private room, near Baylor. There it was, their listing. 4.8 stars, 8 reviews already. Sunny private room and family home, perfect for game days. The description read, cozy guest room and quiet Christian household. Queen bed, desk, high-speed Wi-Fi. Our son works in hospitality, so we know how to treat guests right. I laughed once. No humor in it. The booking calendar showed most weekends blocked out for the next 3 months, including 2 weekends I usually brought Nora down. I took screenshots of everything. The listing, the reviews, the calendar, the part where it said $200 per night plus cleaning fee. I put them in a new folder on my phone, House Receipts. Wave 1 of pressure started that night. Mom called at 9:13 p.m., right as I was checking in a youth basketball team. I hit decline and texted, on desk. Call you after shift, she replied instantly. This is important. I ignored it until my break at midnight, then called from the loading dock with my jacket zipped up to my chin. Hey, I said. What's going on? Don't take that tone, Mom said. I said, hey. You ignored my call. I was at work, I said. At my job. The one that lets me do fun things like pay your property taxes. Silence. Then a sniff. Well, you won't have to worry about that forever. The Airbnb is finally helping. Yeah, I said. About that. We talked about this, she interrupted. You were very supportive. I said, great idea, Mom. I replied. I was being polite in front of Nora. Another sniff. You make everything sound so ugly. We need the income. You know how much the county charges us. And you were late with your contribution last year. Late by 4 days, I said. Because my car needed a new transmission. I still paid the full amount. Your father and I felt very disrespected. Okay, I said slowly. So what is it you want? She took a breath. We need you to keep handling the property taxes, and maybe you could manage the listing for us. Answer inquiries, adjust prices for football games, use your hotel skills, make it a real family business. There it was. You want me, I said, to keep paying the taxes and also run the Airbnb on a room I can't use. You can use it when it's not booked, she said quickly. We'll block some dates, but game days are non-negotiable. Got it, I said. So I'm a silent investor with no equity and no bed. Don't twist things, she snapped. We're offering you an opportunity, Liam. When we're gone, this house will be yours and Emma's. You act like we're leeches. I looked at the concrete wall in front of me. Mom, I'm paying for something I don't own. That's not opportunity. That's a bill. You're so ungrateful, she hissed. Other children don't question. They just help. We're not talking about other children, I said. We're talking about your 34-year-old son who has his own child to support. She went cold. If you don't want to help, just say that. Don't guilt us. We're seniors. We're on a fixed income. You're making a scene. I didn't raise my voice. I'm asking for clarity. Either I'm a tenant, a guest, or an investor. Which is it? Your family, she said. Stop trying to turn this into a contract. That was wave one. Guilt. Reasonable cruelty. We're just trying to survive, Liam. Wave two came 2 weeks later. I had Nora that weekend. We were supposed to go down Saturday morning and come back Sunday evening. I texted Friday to confirm, leaving Dallas 9 a.m. tomorrow. That still work? Mom waited an hour, then replied, "Oh, sweetheart, no. The room is booked. I told you we need notice." I stared at the text. Nora was on the couch next to me coloring a picture of an elevator. We come the first weekend of every month. We've done that for 2 years. 3 dots, you can still come. Couch is open. I rubbed my eyes. So a stranger gets the room and your granddaughter gets the couch. Don't be dramatic. She's small. I took a screenshot, added it to the folder. We ended up staying in a budget hotel off the highway that weekend. Nora thought it was a treat. She bounced on the bed and said, "This is like your work, Daddy." I smiled and didn't tell her I got the employee rate because I couldn't afford the normal one that close to rent day. A week after that, Dad called. "Your mother is upset," he said. "You made her cry." "How?" I asked. I was sitting in the back office going through payroll. My hands were ink-stained from the old printer. "You're refusing to pay the taxes now." "I haven't refused anything," I said. "I'm thinking, you don't think when it comes to family," he said. "You just do. That's how we raised you." I stared at the spreadsheet, at the column of housekeeper wages. "You raised me to clean up messes," I said. "That's different." He ignored that. "You know we can't afford to cover it this year," he said. "We've allocated that money already." Allocated it to what? "The AC needs servicing. We want to replace the countertops before football season. Guests expect a certain standard." I closed my eyes. "You're using the property tax money to upgrade the Airbnb. It'll pay off," he said. "Higher nightly rate. More bookings. But we need you to handle the boring county stuff. You're good at that." I opened my eyes. My hand reached automatically for a pen. "Okay," I said. "I need you to answer a simple question in return." He sighed. "You and your questions? Are you planning to put my name on the deed?" I asked. "Yes or no?" Silence. "Don't start with that," he said finally. "This house will be split between you and Emma. That's already decided. That's not what I asked. You're trying to control everything," he snapped. "You sound like your mother. Just pay the bill, Liam. Stop nickel and diming your own parents." I felt something go still in me. The next day on my break, I logged into the county tax portal. I looked at the auto pay toggle. Green, on. I hovered over it. Then I clicked. It turned gray. Off. Then I drafted an email. Subject line, property tax payments clarification. I addressed it to both my parents. "Mom, Dad, per our recent conversations, I wanted to put this in writing. I have paid the full property tax bill on 1846 Bluebonnet for the last 9 years, 2016 to 2024. Total to date, $31,949.07. Going forward, I will not be covering property taxes on a home I do not own and cannot consistently use. I need to prioritize housing and savings for Nora and myself. This is not punishment, it's a boundary." If you'd like to formalize any kind of shared ownership or repayment plan, I'm open to discussing that with everyone present and with paperwork. Otherwise, the 2025 tax bill and beyond will be your responsibility. Love, Liam. I attached a PDF export of all my payment confirmations. I hit send. Then I moved all the receipts into a cloud folder and shared them to my personal email. That same night, Mom left me a 3-minute voicemail about how I was abandoning them. I didn't call back. That's when I stopped arguing and started documenting. The county notice arrived in late March. I didn't see it first. They did. I was finishing a double on a Tuesday when my phone buzzed. Mom. FaceTime. I stepped into the linen closet between 2 racks of towels and answered audio only. Hey, I said. I'm at work. What's up? Her voice came through ragged. How could you do this to us? My pulse kicked. Do what? She sniffed loudly. The county sent a delinquent notice. A lien, Liam. A lien on our home. They say we owe $3,976.33 by May 1st or they'll start proceedings. I exhaled slowly. My hand stayed steady on the phone. That sounds like a serious problem, I said. What did you think would happen when no one paid? We thought you paid, she shrieked. A housekeeper walked past the open door, saw me, and backed out fast. I sent you an email on January 3rd, I said. I said I wouldn't be paying this year. You can't put something like that in an email and expect it to count, she snapped. That's literally how notice works, I said. You just described notice. You blindsided us, she said. Your father almost had a heart attack. In the background, I heard Dad mutter, "Don't drag my heart into this," and a TV sports commentator yelling about a foul. You had 4 months, I said. The bill comes out in November. The email was January. It's March. She lowered her voice suddenly, that reasonable tone returning. Liam, listen. We can fix this. Just make the payment and we'll figure everything else out later. We'll put your name on the will. We'll make sure you're taken care of. Don't let a little paperwork ruin the relationship. I leaned back against the towel rack. The metal dug into my spine. So let me say it back to you, I said. You want me to cover a $3,976 tax bill plus the fees, keep paying every year, and in exchange I get a promise that my name might be on something someday. You make it sound so cold, she said. This is family. I work in contracts, I said. This is not family. This is a bad deal. She went brittle. If you don't pay this, we could lose the house. I stared at a stack of folded sheets. You're also making $200 a night on the guest room, I said. How are those bookings going? Silence. You wouldn't, she whispered. You wouldn't let your parents' home go to auction. I'm not in charge of your finances, I said. The county doesn't care that I'm your son. They care whose name is on the deed, whose obligation it is. And that's not me. You are heartless, she gasped. We raised you. We housed you. We let you stay here after your divorce. I swallowed the list of times I paid their mortgage when Dad got behind in 2018. The time I put their electric bill on my credit card so they wouldn't be disconnected in July. The 9 years of tax payments sitting in my email. Mom, I said quietly, I'm done paying to be treated like a guest in a house I subsidize. You'll regret this, she spat. Don't expect a dime when we're gone. I didn't, I said. That's why I started my own savings account. She hung up on me. 2 days later, I had an appointment with a real estate attorney. Not because I wanted to sue my parents, but because I needed to know if they could drag me into their mess. I sat in a small office with beige walls and a plant that looked near death. The lawyer, a woman in her 40s with tired eyes, flipped through the folder I'd brought. Printouts of tax payment confirmations, screenshots of the Airbnb listing, a copy of my email from January. You've been very thorough, she said. I work in hotels, I said. If it's not documented, it didn't happen. She nodded. Classic. So what's the situation? I asked. Can the county come after me if they don't pay? No, she said. You're not on the deed. You're not a co-owner. You're not a guarantor. From the county's perspective, you're just a generous son. This is between them and the tax office. So all these years of payments were gifts, she said. Unless you have a written agreement stating otherwise, that's how a court would see them. The word lands heavy. Gifts. Cool, I said. My voice was steady, but my hands shook. So I've been paying $30,000 in gifts and sleeping on a couch. She gave me a sympathetic look. I can draft a letter, she said. Not a threat, just a clarification. You are not responsible for future tax payments and will not be making them. That way, if your parents try to say otherwise, you've got something to point to. Do it, I said. She typed while I watched. The letter was 1 page. Simple. Clean. To whom it may concern, this letter confirms that my client, Liam O'Donnell, will not be making further payments toward property taxes on 1846 Bluebonnet. I left with a manila envelope under my arm and a strange sense of calm. On Sunday, I drove Nora down anyway. Not to stay. Just for a conversation. Why aren't we bringing the big bag? She asked as we turned onto their street. We're not sleeping over, I said. Just a quick visit. Okay, she said. She looked out the window. Can we still say hi to Grandma? Yes, I said. We are definitely saying hi to Grandma. Mom answered the door with a pinched face. You picked a nice time to show up. It's the only day I have, I said. Dad was at the table. County envelope open. Papers spread out like a crime scene. You see this? He barked. They're adding penalties already. I glanced at the top page. Red stamp. Past due. Amount due $4,016.33. I nodded. Looks official. Nora lingered by the doorway, hugging her koala. Hi, Grandpa. He softened for a second. Hey, kiddo. I sat down. Pulled the attorney's envelope from my bag. Set it next to the county notice. What's that? Mom demanded. A letter, I said. From my lawyer. The word hit the air like a dropped plate. Your lawyer? She repeated. For clarity, I said. Nothing dramatic. Just facts. You got a lawyer, Dad said slowly, to fight your own parents. No, I said, to separate my finances from your decisions. Mom's eyes flashed. Don't you dare try to intimidate us with legal nonsense. It's not nonsense, I said calmly. It just says I'm not responsible for your property taxes, that any payments I made were voluntary, not an agreement, that going forward the county and any other party should not expect payment from me. Dad snatched the envelope, ripped it open, skimmed the first lines. His face went pale. Are you happy? Mom demanded. You've humiliated us. I looked at Nora. She was watching me, eyes wide and quiet, like always. This isn't about humiliation, I said. This is about boundaries. You sound like those therapy podcasts, Dad muttered. Maybe you should listen to one, I said. Might save your house. Mom slammed her hand on the table. If you don't pay this bill, Liam, we will lose our home. Do you understand that? I met her eyes. I understand that you chose to count on someone who told you in writing they were stepping back, I said. You had time to adjust. You chose not to. You're abandoning us, she said hoarsely. I'm refusing to be financially abused, I said. There's a difference. Nora flinched at the word abused. My chest tightened. I took a breath. Here's what I'm willing to do, I said. I can sit with you while you call the county and set up a payment plan. I can help you raise your nightly rate on the room or improve your listing. I can show you how to actually budget the Airbnb income instead of spending it on granite countertops. We like our counters, Dad muttered. But I am not swiping my card, I finished. Not one more time. Silence. Mom's voice went icy. If you walk out of here without helping, don't bother coming back. You and that child can stay on your side of town. Nora's hand found mine under the table. Her fingers were shaking. I squeezed back. That's your choice, I said. But I'm not negotiating with threats. Dad's chair scraped back. What happened to you? He demanded. You used to be a good son. I stood up. My legs felt steady. Good sons don't bankrupt their own kids to keep their parents comfortable, I said. I'm not the one who changed. I just stopped pretending this was normal. Mom's eyes filled with tears. Real ones this time. You're going to let the county take our house. The county isn't taking anything today, I said. You still have options. Sell, refinance, downsize, use your actual Airbnb income for its intended purpose. You are not helpless. We're old, she whispered. You're 64, I said. You're not made of glass. She stared at me like I'd slapped her. I turned to Nora. Say goodbye, honey. Bye, Grandma, Nora said, voice small. Bye, Grandpa. Neither of them answered. We walked out into the bright Sunday afternoon. The air felt lighter than the house had in years. In the car, Nora was quiet until we hit the highway. Daddy? Yeah? Are Grandma and Grandpa mad at us? I swallowed. They're upset, I said. But being upset doesn't mean we did something wrong. She thought about that. You didn't yell, she said. No, I said. I thought grown-ups always yell when they're mad, she said. They don't have to, I said. Sometimes they just make decisions. What did you decide? I glanced at her in the rearview mirror. I decided I'm done paying for things that hurt us, I said. She nodded slowly, like she was saving that sentence somewhere in her head. That night, I logged into the employee portal and blocked off a room at my hotel for the first weekend of each month for the next 6 months. I put in my own credit card. Irreversible enough. The first time Nora and I did our weekend at my hotel instead of my parents' house, she walked into the lobby like a VIP. This is so fancy, she whispered, even though she'd been here 100 times to pick me up from shifts. It's the same lobby, I said. Yeah, but now it's for us, she said. Fair point. I checked us in like we were regular guests, printed the key, did the spiel out of habit. Breakfast from 6 to 10, Wi-Fi passwords on the key sleeve, pool closes at 9, Nora giggled. You're being hotel guy. I am hotel guy, I said. Now I'm just also your dad in a hotel. We spent the evening in the pool, then ate microwave mac and cheese at the little desk while watching cartoons. It wasn't fancy, but it was quiet. No comments about contributions. No sighs about Nora's mess. She fell asleep in the bed next to me, sprawled sideways like a tiny starfish. I lay there in the dark staring at the ceiling, listening to the air conditioner hum. My chest hurt, but not the panicky way it used to when the tax bill came out. It hurt like stretching a muscle that's been cramped for a long time. The next morning, while Nora attacked a waffle in the breakfast area, I pulled up my banking app. Every month for 9 years, there had been a big red line around March or April. County Treasurer. Property tax. The amount changed, but the hole it left in my account didn't. This year, that line wasn't there. Instead, I set up a recurring transfer. Same day of the month, same amount as last year's tax bill. Destination, a new account I'd opened at a credit union down the street. Nickname, Nora Future. The first transfer went through with a little green checkmark. It felt better than any thank you for your payment email ever had. Weeks went by, my parents didn't call. Emma texted once, Mom says you're being dramatic, I replied. Mom says that about anyone who stops letting her run their life. Emma never responded. In early May, I got a photo in the family group chat. Mom had sent it. A for sale sign on the front lawn. No caption, just the picture. I stared at it for a long second. Then I typed, I hope you get a good price. She left me on red. A week later, I ran into Dad in the grocery store. He looked smaller somehow, not physically, just deflated. He hesitated at the end of the cereal aisle, then rolled his cart over. Your mother's furious with you, he said by way of hello. I guessed, I said. He shifted his weight. We had to list the house. Can't keep up with everything. Market's not terrible. Agent says we'll walk away with enough to get something smaller, maybe a condo. That sounds reasonable, I said. He studied my face. You're not happy about this? No, I said. I'm not happy you ignored a problem until it exploded. I am glad you're finally doing something that doesn't involve my bank account. He winced. You always did know how to make things sting. You always did know how to avoid ownership, I said. We stood there between the Cheerios and the off-brand cornflakes. Two grown men who'd never really learned how to talk without someone being right and someone being wrong. Finally, he said, we're looking at a place in a 55-plus community. 1 story, smaller yard. HOA handles everything. Might be nice. I hope it is, I said, and I meant it. He nodded, almost like a bow, then turned his cart and left without another word. A month after they moved, Mom called. First time in weeks. Nora and I were at the park. She was hanging off the monkey bars yelling, "Watch this!" every 4 seconds. I answered on speaker so I could keep my eyes on Nora. Hello? Is she with you? Mom asked. No, hello? Yes, I said. We're at the park. I got your little savings account screenshot. She said Emma must have forwarded the photo I'd sent her of the first $5,000 in Nora's future account. I didn't send that to you, I said. She shows me everything, Mom said. You know that. Okay, I said. So now you'd rather put money in some bank than help your own parents, she said. No, I said. I'd rather put money in some bank than pretend helping my parents isn't hurting my kid. She went quiet for a second. I heard dishes clinking in the background. You made us sell our home, she said softly. No, I said, just as soft. The county did. You knew the bill was coming. You chose countertops and guests over planning. I just stopped padding the fall. You're cruel, she whispered. I'm clear, I said. There's a difference. She sniffed. We're having a little housewarming next month. Neighbors, church friends. You and Nora should come. Maybe seeing the new place will knock some sense into you. I watched Nora drop from the monkey bars and land solidly on her feet. She grinned at me, cheeks flushed. We can meet you at a park near there, I said. Public place, 1 hour. No money talk. If you can do that, we'll come. You're setting terms now? She snapped. Yes, I said. That's what boundaries are, she scoffed. You think you're better than family now? No, I said. I think I'm responsible for my family, the one I made, not the one that keeps treating me like an ATM. She was breathing hard. I don't know what happened to you. I started acting like an adult, I said. She hung up. We still did the park meetup. She texted a week later with a time and a location. When we arrived, she tried one more tactic. She handed Nora a gift bag with a sparkly notebook and a $20 bill tucked in the front pocket. For your college fund, she said loudly, looking at me. See? We contribute. Nora looked at me unsure. Say thank you, I said, and put it in your backpack. Thank you, Grandma, Nora said obediently. Mom smiled like she'd won something. Then she launched into it. So, about the new HOA fees. I held up a hand. Nope, I said calmly. Remember the rule, 1 hour. No money talk. She stared at me. Liam, that's ridiculous. That's the boundary, I said. If you bring up money or guilt or taxes, we go. Nora watched us both like a tennis match. Mom laughed once, humorless. You're serious. Very, I said. 20 minutes later, she slipped. She brought up how our Airbnb income would have covered everything if you'd just been patient. I checked my watch. Okay, I said, time to go. Don't you dare, she hissed. I told you the rule ahead of time, I said. I'm not negotiating reality. Nora's hand found mine. Can we come back another day? She asked Grandma. Mom's eyes filled again. If your father isn't too busy counting his pennies. I shook my head. We love you, I said. But we're not available for that. We left. In the car, Nora swung her legs. What's that? She asked. The part where someone thinks love means you have to do what they want with your money and your time, I said. She thought about it. That sounds dumb, she said. Yeah, I said. It is. These days, our grandparent weekends look different. Sometimes we meet my parents at a restaurant halfway between our cities. Sometimes they cancel last minute. Sometimes they don't respond at all. I don't chase. On my side, I work my shifts, run my hotel, tuck Nora into bed, and move money every month into an account with her name on it. We still drive past the old house sometimes on the way to other things. There's a different car in the driveway now. New curtains in the front window. I wonder if they'll turn that guest room into an Airbnb, too. Nora doesn't ask to stop. She just looks, then goes back to whatever book she brought. If there's a moral here, it's not teach your parents a lesson by letting the county scare them. It's smaller and sharper than that. You don't have to keep paying for the story your family wrote for you. You get to write a new one, even if it makes people mad. Access to me is not a family right, and access to my wallet definitely isn't.